to be more self-aware, I think, is number one. All of the things that I've learned about myself and the psychology of the decisions that I made and how I behaved previously, although heightened because we were, enduring the pandemic, I think that it's really important to understand who I am, why I am, and why I make certain decisions, and to lean into that and help myself behave in a better way. And not necessarily just go, no, Amy, you're never allowed to stock pick again. You just have to cycle into a global index fund. That's the end of your fun. And an example of that would be that I got this idea from Romin, actually. I've got like a little slush fund so that I leave my portfolio alone and don't mess around with it and think, oh, that's gone up a bit. Perhaps I'll just sell it today and hope it goes down tomorrow and then buy some more. I've got my little slush fund that I don't care if I lose it and that I can mess around with that and buy stocks that might be shit and might go to zero and not care too much about it, or whatever the latest meme coin is, or I wouldn't do that. But I've got this fund. Yeah. That's
I would
why
before, not now.
But I've got this fund that I'm happy to just have a bit of a fun with, really. And
protects the portfolio. Kind of keeps the idle hands busy,
Exactly.
I do the same about 10%, just to scratch that itch, that very human itch.
I have it, and I've got to be mindful that I have that, and why tie my hands behind my back and allow myself no fun. I think it's a really good thing to do if you can afford it, just to have a cup. And actually, I do all right with it. So because I care less about it as well, which is another maybe another conversation for another day. But being less attached to that money and not wanting to hold on to it tightly and actually not caring if I lose a couple of quid, then is actually long term. I think I've probably done better because of the way that I face that.
Just, a lot of our experienced investor guests have echoed that sentiment of like a money pit or like 10%, 5% for just speculation and stocks. So you've definitely learned a lot. You're doing well because these big dogs are all saying that's a good idea.
I think you're much wiser than a lot of the big dogs. The amount of big dogs that sit there going, I know what's about to happen. But like, how long have you been right for? They're like, I've been wrong for decades. Literally, one guest this morning was just like, yeah, I'm always wrong. Okay, so there's so much pain and trauma. I've experienced this, and, regret and hating yourself that comes along with making these mistakes. There's going to be a lot of people that have made them. So if you could say anything to them, or if you could go back to yourself at the point where you felt shit, what would you say to yourself?
I would say talk to somebody. I found that I was convinced that the decisions that I were making were the right decisions for me. And I did that without talking to anybody, really. I made the decisions entirely through my own traumatized emotions, and then, fear, greed, panic. And then I think that the decisions that I made would have been different if I'd have spoken to somebody about it. Now, I don't think that that's going to be easy for everybody, because it's certainly in my circumstance, in my circle of friends and my family, there weren't really very many people that were interested in investing. I didn't have anybody too close to me. But had I have just, made friends with people via an online community, or, tried to reach out to somebody, financial advisor would have been good, right? Back then, I think I would have made very different decisions. And I don't think I would have got into quite the amount of trouble that I did. But as I say, hindsight's a wonderful thing. I'm actually really glad it all happened as well, because now I've come out the other side a much better investor. So it's tricky. But I definitely think a problem shared is a problem halved, right? And even if the advice that you're given by that person is terrible, then at least reaffirms the decision that you've made. They might have said to me, oh yeah, you should definitely sell. Well, great. Confirmation bias, brilliant. That's what I needed. But they also might give you some really good advice, or they might have experienced something themselves.
That was a clip from a conversation we had with an audience member called Amy, who was kind enough to come on and share her investment journey. She's an absolute legend. You can watch the whole episode right here.